Good morning. 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 Um, I want to invite you this morning to hold on. I can never find what So let me just do this. Hold on. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I want to invite you. Today is the first Sunday. And I want to invite you to engage a ritual with me after our meditation. Now, I identify, certainly I am ordained in the Christian church and the Baptist denomination to be exact. And so communion is an ordinance in that tradition. And in my development and learning and listening, it is for me a ritual. And so I am compelled this morning. We used to do it a few years ago, but I am compelled this morning that we would engage in this ritual together this morning. And so I want to invite you to, before we start, to take a moment to get a solid and a liquid that we might build our own table. Ashe. Yeah, 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 yeah. And this is for all folks, I believe, in an open table because my tradition is open and is fluid. And because of the way that I see Jesus, I recognize that as somebody described me, they say, yeah, we know her theology is out there now. She out there with it. She out there. Amen. Thank you. I received that as a compliment. And so I want to just invite you to do so before we even get started. And I want to say that today, we will begin our a 4-part commemoration in honor and observance and in commemoration of Black August under the theme, The Fire Next Time. Each week I will come being led by the Spirit, the mothers, and of course our ancestors with an offering, with a reflection for us to consider. And then when we go over to the clearing, which is for those of you who are new here, the clearing is our subscription community. It is a space, it is our private Zoom we go to immediately after PRC. Spend about another hour or so there talking back to the text, talking to each other, reflecting, getting even more free, saying things that some of us don't feel comfortable saying, in the live stream or typing or broad. We are a community, a collective. It is a digital hush harbor where we come as much as we can beyond the gaze, besides the technology, where we can move beyond sort of a kind of algorithmic surveillance, if you will, where we engage one another and talk back to the text with each other. And then we have our own private Facebook group. And then you've been seeing us sort of popping up all across the country, if you will, at different, what I like to call activations that are rooted in sacred memory, where we are in collaboration, whether it be collectively and we give Black. So shout out to Collectively and We Give Black. Their day of giving is coming up. And greetings to all of you who are joining. Natasha, if you are on, if you could grab from Collectively's on one of their pages to post, I would be appreciative. I know that you are on YouTube, and so if you post it on YouTube, then I can probably you know what I'm trying to say. I can get it over to Facebook. with the Ma'afa that is coming September 22nd through the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, through the 27th in East New York, Brooklyn. And so if you are planning to be there, we look forward to seeing you there. And of course, the One Love Festival that just happened. And so these are places where you can see us. Good morning, Bakari, great sibling. These are places where you can see us, where you can see what we do, you can see our work, experience this form, this kind of liberative teaching. It may be on Instagram too. Bakari, we're trying to get our hands on a collectively one of the pages that talks about the Great Day of Giving for the social-led organizations in the Baltimore area, and the We Give Black, so that we can share that information here on our platform. So if you know where we could go grab it right quick or can grab it, we'd be greatly appreciative, and put it in the chat. So some organizations that would benefit, many of us know Reverend Dr. Heber Brown's Black Church Food Security Network, which is one of the organizations, and there are so many others. Brother Jamie Wooten and the entire team, Mama E.T. Hari, who is serving as a fellow, our own comrade, Ronnie Galvin, who is working with their fellows. I mean, it's a powerful, powerful offering. And so I invite you to check it out. Ashe, good morning. Let me just go through and say good morning, because that's my favorite part. I'm literally... Also, again, if you're just joining, please go grab you elements, a solid and a liquid. I know for some of you it may be triggering, but I promise I got you. I got you. I got us. I got you. I got you. I got us. Good morning, Dr. Rihanna. So good to see you. Good morning. Buenos dias, familia. To our dear sister, Dr. Marilyn Pagan Banks. Good morning. Good morning. I feel like saying titles this morning, and it's going to get me in trouble because I don't know everybody's. And so if I don't say yours, honey, just feel free to type it in and let the people see. It's either because I don't know or I've forgotten. So good morning, Reverend Pastor Tanya Denise Anderson. Good morning to my director, actor, producer, artist, Stephanie Scott. Good morning, Orisha Bowers. Good morning, Melanie Funches. Good morning, attorney Natasha Robinson, Reverend Liz Rios. Good morning, Reverend Pamela Cook, Reverend Kim Vini, Reverend Dana Molds, Reverend Ronnie Galvin Kwabla Maulolo. Good morning to Shauna Morgan. Good morning, Reverend Tangi Middleton. Good morning, Naisha Nelson. Good morning, Dr. Ariel Smith. Good morning, Reverend. Some of y'all I'm assign titles because I don't know, but I think, and you might not even be, but like I think April Lee Eidelberg, you're a Reverend, but I'm going to give it to you. Good morning, Comrade Bakari Jones. Good morning, Reverend Dr. Michael Elam. Good morning, Jordan, almost Dr. Stewart. Good morning, Dr. Cynthia Armster. Good morning, Reverend Shawnee McIlwain. Good morning. Good morning to Comrade Nicole Denise. Good morning, Comrade Ardella Smith. Good morning, Dr. Chayla Belcher. Good morning, Reverend Dr. Jamie Eady. Good morning, James Cena. Am I saying your name right? Jamesina Green. Good morning. Reverend Dr. Orisha. I love it. I told y'all, if I don't say your title right, or if I don't say it right, type it in. Thank you for modeling that, Orisha. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Orisha Bowers. Thank you. I love that for us. Name yourself. It's the first tenet of womanism. And it is a principle, one of the Nguzo Saba, true Kuji Chagili is self-determination. Audre Lorde, if you don't name yourself for yourself, we got to stop being in this fake humility, friend. Pop your stuff. Talk your ish. Name yourself for yourself. Yeah. Put y'all's titles up in there. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Now y'all know I done come down here. Hey, is that one of my oh, never mind. I got one. I said I done come down here without my fan. I'm good, but I do have my candle. Is that the producer? That's the producer. I do have my candle. Ashe. Mm-hmm. Good morning. Good morning. I'm sorry. Let me keep saying my salutations. Greetings and salutations. Good morning. Good morning, Vicky Sides. Good morning, Attorney Professor Akila Monique. Good morning, Roger Epps. Good morning, Reverend Free DeGraffin Reed. Good morning to the seer, Oracle Tamil Jones. Good morning, Stacy Brown. Good morning. Good morning. And if I'm not saying your title, it's because I don't know it. And so just type it in, friend. Type it in. Good morning, Kelly Sweat. Good morning, Michelle Johnson. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Dr. Sonia Campbell. Good morning, storyteller and community builder Emily Lasana. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Comrade Roslyn. Good morning. Good morning, y'all. Good freaking morning. Yeah. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I don't know where I got this. Oh, I do know where I got this from. Donna Otis. I got this candle from SCAD, Savannah School of Art and Design, in their bookstore. And I was like, okay. But it is, duh. And they got it from the creator is She Inspires, SHE Inspires. She Inspires Literary Candles. So maybe you can Google, and they probably have a website, and you can get it from there. Mm-hmm. I like this when I'm writing. Ashe. Good morning. Good morning to all of the people. Good morning. Let me tell you something. Good morning, Reverend Yolanda Knight, Reverend Attorney, Reverend Antoinette Ballard, JD, or Reverend Antoinette Ballard, Esquire. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Reverend Michelle Johnson. Ashe. Good morning, almost Dr. Michelle Johnson. Okay, all right, y'all. Love to see these updates. Got your title right. Thank you. It's Reverend. All right, I see y'all. Good morning. Good morning, Reverend Almost Dr. Tashana Morgan. Okay, for the almost. I love it here. Good morning, Reverend Donna Otis Esquire. Good morning, Reverend Pastor Verzola Law. Good morning. I love this. Listen. I love this. Listen. And don't get in here tripping, because I've been calling you comrade. Good morning to the OG elder comrade. Good morning to the OG elder comrade Hazel Mack Esquire. Good morning to the good doctor. Good morning to the good doctor, and the creator of Nerdland herself, to the prolific author, to the wordsmith, to the black feminist fire freedom fighter. I was about to say the Reverend Doctor, but it could be Melissa Harris Perry. Shout out to you. Good morning, Mel Chris. Good morning. I just feel like, acknowledging all of who we are. Certainly it is not the sum total. Y'all know my heart. So for anybody feeling away, I need you to go do your soul work. Amen. And Ashe. Good morning. All power to the people in my Fred Hampton voice. Yeah. I feel it today. Good morning. Let's go. Y'all ready? Feel like, ain't this what y'all been waiting for? Come on, Meek. Let's go. Good morning. Girl Scout leader, Melissa. I know that's right. The most important title. And you are doing your good work. Good morning, Nala. Good morning. So for those of you who just joined, I want to invite you we are going to engage at the end of this meditation in a ritual, a different kind of communion liturgy for this morning, but I want to gather you, invite you to go get a solid and a liquid, so that at the end we may build our own table. Ashe, our own table. I want to invite you to consider joining me in meditating from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 23. From the Gospel of Luke, chapter 23. I invite you to read the entire chapter, but I'm going to begin. Well, you know what? It's the teacher in me. As I don't know, we are all coming from different spaces, so I'm going to read the entire chapter. Mel Chris, it's so good to see your name here, comrade. So good to see you. Listen for a word. Jesus, Luke, Luke, chapter 23. Then the assembly rose as a body and brought Jesus before Pilate, and they began to accuse him, saying, "We found this man inciting our nation, forbidding us to pay taxes to Caesar, and saying that he himself is the Messiah, a king." Then Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And he answered, "You say so." And then Pilate said to the chief priests and the crowds, "I find no basis for an accusation against this man." But they were insistent and said, "He stirs up the people by teaching throughout all Judea, from Galilee where he began, even to this place." Verse 6, and when Pilate heard this, he asked whether the man was a Galilean. And when he learned that he was under Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him off to Herod, who was himself in Jerusalem at that time. And when Herod saw Jesus, he was very glad, for he had been wanting to see him for a long time, because he had heard about him and was hoping to see him perform some sign. He questioned him at some length, but Jesus gave him no answer, and the chief priests and scribes stood by vehemently accusing him. Even Herod with his soldiers treated him with contempt and mocked him, and then put an elegant robe on him and sent him back to Pilate. And that same day Herod and Pilate became friends with each other. Before this, they had been enemies. Here's where I want to lean in and focus on, beginning with verse 13 down to 25. Pilate then called together the chief priests, the leaders of the people, and said to them, "You brought me this man as one who was inciting the people, and here I have examined him in your presence and have not found this man guilty of any of your charges against him. Neither has Herod, for he sent him back to us. Indeed, he has done nothing to deserve death. I will therefore have him flogged and release him." Then all shouted out together, "Away, away with this fellow. Release Barabbas for us." This was a man who had been put in prison for an insurrection that had taken place in the city and for murder. Pilate, wanting to release Jesus, addressed them again, but they kept shouting, "Crucify him. Crucify him." And a third time he said to them, "Why? What evil has he done? I have found in him no ground for the sentence of death. I will therefore have him flogged and then release him." But they kept urgently demanding with loud shouts that he should be crucified, and their voices prevailed. So Pilate gave his verdict that their demand should be granted. He released the man they asked for, the one who had been put in prison for insurrection and murder, and he handed Jesus over as they wished. So this month, for the next 4 weeks, we will be in a series called The Fire This Time, a Black August Witness. The Fire This Time, a Black August Witness. That is the name of the series. We will be moving through various principles that that have come to me to highlight during this observation of Black August. And so for a few moments, first let me just set this tone That's right. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you, thank you, thank you. James Baldwin understood that America's failure to remember truthfully, stop right there, that America's failure to remember truthfully to reckon with the brutal legacy of slavery, racial violence, and hypocrisy would lead not to healing, but to destruction. Baldwin was a prophet of memory. He knew that forgetting was not a neutral act. He knew that forgetting was violence that was cloaked in silence. And he wasn't alone. We can, for those of us familiar with this particular sacred text, that 2 Peter 3-7 says, and by the same word, the present heavens and earth are reserved for fire, being kept for the day of judgment. Then, of course, we know that the text in the Old Testament says that next time when the Lord comes, it will not be by water, but it will be fire next time. So we are focusing on memory today. And true memory demands confrontation. Well, there goes some of y'all already. And when confrontation is ignored, it births fire. So today, I want to meditate from the theme, we remember so we won't remain bound. We remember so we won't remain bound. We remember so we won't remain bound. Memory, here's our thesis, here's our focus, here's our big idea. Memory is a radical act of solidarity that unmasks empire and sustains the work of liberation. Memory, you know what? I got something I'm supposed to play for y'all. My bad. Hold on. My bad. Let me, this was supposed to set me up. I just got hype. I got hype, but let me play it now.
Trump, why would descendants of the transatlantic slave trade get reparations to leave if they were never in slavery? Oscarville, Georgia, 1912. White mobs violently expelled the entire black population. The land was later submerged under Lake Lanier to erase the evidence. East St. Louis, Illinois, 1917. Over 100 black residents were murdered in a white mob attack. Homes and businesses were burned while police stood down. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. Black Wall Street was burned to the ground by white mobs with support from law enforcement. Up to 300 were killed, 35 city blocks destroyed. Rosewood, Florida, 1923. A white mob destroyed the entire town after a false accusation. Survivors fled to the woods, never returned. Detroit, Michigan, Paradise Valley, 30s to the 50s. Redlining locked blacks in the overcrowded zones. Later, I-75 was put right through the heart of Detroit's black business district and cultural center. Chicago, Illinois, Black Belt, 1930s to the 40s. Redlining confined black families to overcrowded housing. Banks refused to lend. The city created laws for residential segregation based on race. Vanport, Oregon, 1948. A flood destroyed housing for 18,000 residents, mostly black war workers. The government failed to warn them. No rebuilding followed. St. Louis, Missouri, Mill Creek Valley, 1959. The city demolished 5,000 black homes in the name of urban renewal. 20,000 residents were displaced without replacement housing. Miami, Florida, Overtown, 1950s. I-95 was put right through Overtown, a thriving black community. Residents and businesses were evicted, never compensated. Durham, North Carolina, Haiti District, 1960s. A self-sufficient black business district was wiped out by highway construction. No restoration or reparation were ever provided. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, move bombing, 1985. The city dropped a bomb on a black home, killing 11 people, including 5 children. 65 homes in the black neighborhood were destroyed. Baltimore, Maryland, Highway to Nowhere, 1970s. A highway project destroyed a black neighborhood and was never completed. The land was taken, the people were displaced, the road project totally abandoned. This is a testimony against your nation before heaven and earth.
So let me run it back and read again. Baldwin understood that America's failure to remember truthfully, to reckon with the brutal legacy of racial violence and hypocrisy would lead not to healing, but to destruction. Come on, Ronnie, do you hear those birds? Do y'all hear those birds? It is, I wish that I could, it has come and sat on my ledge. I know we in the spirit and I know we in the flow. If you know, you know. Baldwin understood that America's failure to remember truthfully, to reckon with the brutal legacy of slavery, racial violence, and hypocrisy would lead not to healing, but to destruction. He was a prophet of memory. He knew that forgetting was not a neutral act. It was violence cloaked in silence. That memory, true memory, demands confrontation. And I would add that true memory demands reparations. And confrontation and reparations, when ignored, births fire. Ashe. And so today we want to consider the meditation. We remember so we won't remain bound. Our thesis, our big idea, our focus, if you will, is that memory is a radical act of solidarity that unmasks empire and sustains the work of liberation. Black August invites us to remember Jesus not only as a savior, but as a political prisoner, targeted, detained, and executed by the state for proclaiming the reign of God. Enter Black August, born in the belly of the beast in California's prison systems in the 1970s. It is not a holiday. It is a sacred observance. It is a solemn fast. It is a revolutionary liturgy of memory. It was birthed by freedom fighters and political prisoners like George Jackson, who was assassinated in San Quentin on August 21st, 1971. His death and the death of his 17-year-old brother Jonathan Jackson marked August as a time of remembrance, remembering those particularly who resisted. Not in theory did they resist, but in blood. So let us again be clear at the outset that Black August is not a celebration. It is not like a celebration of Black History Month. Yeah, this needs to be said. And I know there are festivals and all kinds of things that are, we coming and we jamming, we partying, we drinking. That's not what Black August is. Black August is not a celebration. Black August is an observance. It is a commemoration. It is an acknowledgement. It is a pause. It is a moment to acknowledge, a moment to become disciplined, a moment to, just like is Lent season for Christians, is that a celebration? Is the Lenten season a celebration? It's a what? A moment of reflection. It is a time to do what? Remember one's mortality. It is a moment to do what? Acknowledge the journey ahead and to walk alongside the radical who would ultimately sacrifice and give his life. Black August is the same, in the same vein. It is a solemn act of memory. It is a holy recommitment to the struggle for liberation. It was born in prison cells and watered by the blood of those who dared to resist. Black August calls us then to remember our political prisoners. That is the sole purpose, for us to remember our political prisoners. Black August calls us to remember those who were and are targeted, surveilled, imprisoned, and assassinated, not because they broke laws, but because they broke silence, because they told the truth, because they believed that Black lives are sacred, that freedom is non-negotiable, and that no cage could contain spirit. Ashe, I want to read it again. And I've put it here up on the screen for you. And just in case you need to know, what is a political prisoner? It is someone who is targeted or imprisoned because of their political actions, affiliations, and or beliefs. A political prisoner is also a person who, while in prison, takes up and maintains the political struggle. You on the same page? And if you think that Jesus doesn't belong in that number, then you haven't read the trial transcripts. Let's read them. Luke 13 through 25, we just read. Pilate then called together the chief priests, the leaders, and the people, and said to them, "You brought me this man as one who was perverting the people. I have found in him no ground for the sentence of death. I will therefore have him flogged and release him." But they kept on shouting, "Crucify him, crucify him." Let's contextualize this text. Jesus of Nazareth, a poor itinerant, what we would know as itinerant, right? Proclaimer in his Jewish tradition from Galilee. In our modern, especially Christian context, we would say that he was unlicensed, he was uncredentialed, and in many ways he was unbothered by formality, because as a child, even remember, his parents couldn't find him when they went to observe Passover, and then walking back they realized he's not with them. They turn around and go back, couldn't find him for days. Where was he? He was teaching in the synagogue. No concern for formality. No concern for the institution of the empire, and even the institution of his as his Jewish religion. He was unbothered. Pilate, the Roman governor, who was the proxy of empire, or Herod, another figure of state authority, and the people, some manipulated, some were complicit, and some were afraid. What was happening? It was a political show. It was a political show trial. Jesus is arrested under false charges, interrogated, passed from ruler to ruler, and then sentenced to death, not for what he did, but for what he represented. Oh my. This is happening during Passover, the festival of liberation. While the people were remembering freedom from Pharaoh, they handed over a freedom fighter to Caesar. Where is this happening? In Jerusalem, the seat of religious tradition and Roman occupation, so that the tension between empire and insurgency is thick. Jesus was arrested not because he was a criminal, but because he was a threat to empire. Let's be clear. He disrupted economic systems. He preached good news to the poor. He overturned tables, organized mass gatherings, and refused to be silent in the face of injustice. His body, like the bodies of George Jackson, like the bodies of Sandra Bland, like the body that is still living but in exile, Assata Shakur, like the body of the political prisoner that remains living but still in lockdown, Mumia Abu Jamal, was marked as dangerous. His message, like that of black radicals, was labeled insurrection. His cross was a state-sanctioned lynching. But in Luke 23, Pilate admits, listen, I don't find any fault in him. Yet the pressure of the crowd and the desire for order outweigh truth. Oh my. Jesus is sacrificed not for law breaking, but for peacekeeping. Empire doesn't need guilt. It needs quiet, friend. From this Afro-womanist futurist lens, Jesus's trial is a familiar scene. We've seen it in courthouses, in traffic stops, in prisons, in death cells, and we remember. We remember not because we are trapped by pain, but we remember because we are powered by it. But what is the purpose of memory for freedom fighters? One, Memory prevents sanitization. Black August tells the truth that Jesus was not simply a gentle lamb. He was a radical threat to the carceral colonial state. Memory helps us to see Jesus clearly and to follow him faithfully. Oh, wow. What you say, Melva? Memory helps us to see Jesus clearly and to follow him faithfully. We can't worship, well. See, the issue with those of you, not maybe you here, but those of you who worship Jesus, is that you worship Jesus while you ignore his faith. You sanitize Jesus. Jesus becomes so meek and mild. Baby, some of you all literally sanitize him. The empire has made Jesus white. With brunette hair. Yeah. With that Wella Balsam, you got to be old enough to know what Wella Balsam is. Them Wella Balsam curls. Yeah. We have you have sanitized Jesus. Some of y'all even made Jesus your husband. Child, help me today. Help me today. Yeah, some of y'all want to sleep with Jesus. You want Jesus to rock you in the midnight hour. Yeah. Hold me. Yeah. You only want to experience Jesus in the highest form of cathartic release when the Holy Ghost is high. When we can shout, when we can display our gifts of the Spirit, all of which I do. That's how you want to experience Jesus. You only want to experience Jesus if Jesus can become your genie in your bottle. If you could speak it and it can happen. If you could say in the name of Jesus and that every demon will flee. But who are the demons? That's the real question. But memory prevents sanitization. If you remember, if you read and remember, then you cannot ignore Jesus's fates. My goodness. You cannot ignore that he was a political prisoner. But not only does memory prevent sanitization, memory empowers the marginalized. To remember is to resist invisibility. Well, let's start even at the beginning. This morning, I wanted to say y'all's titles, y'all's names, your honorifics, your who you. I wanted you to remember who you are. I wanted you to remember that. I wanted you to remember. And I love what MHP says. Listen, I'm a Girl Scout leader these days. I love it because that's also she is and who we are. That this kind of fake sense of humility that empire impresses, really institutions impress upon you because they want to keep you in line. As long as you remain humble, as long as you remain docile and humble, you will never fully step up and step into either what you've worked for, what your credentials demand you be called, what your gifted or your brilliance or even your diligence leans into, because I don't just, I want to stay to the back. Because humility, the way we practice humility is a kind of respectability. And if I want to say something too, that humility could also be, it was subversive. To practice humility was a way to be subversive, right? Because you needed to stay alive. Our ancestors needed to stay alive. They needed to shrink in the face of white supremacy, in the face of whiteness. So they needed to go along to get along so that they would be able to get along enough to birth us, Ashe, to see us in the distance. And there are still some moments for those of us in different spaces is where, you know, we still have to be strategic, and we have to do what Camilla Shorter and her writing partner Gooden call shifting. It's what Du Bois identifies as double consciousness, the ways that we have to move and engage, and to bring it even more in this Afro womanist futurist lens. It is what RG just posted. It is Sankofa. It is how we get how we fetch the power to be able to negotiate the present. Friends, to remember is to resist invisibility. It is to center the names the world forgets. The world be forgetting your name. That's why Audre Lorde said, the Lord of Lords, you gotta listen, you gotta name yourself for yourself. If not, what will happen? Yeah. Maya Angelou says you got to tell your story. Dr. Maya Angelou says you got to tell your story as you know it, not as it has been told to you. Listen, you got to remember who you are, period. Because the role of an institution is to make you forget. Yeah. Been around the world and It is to make you forget. To erase what books can be read in school systems is to attempt to make folks forget. To forget who we are. To remember is to resist invisibility. It is to center the names. This is why, no, we can't all get along. No, I don't see color. That's a problem for me. I need you to see all of me. And when you see me, I need you to say my name. Yeah. So that you can remember. This picture I found, my mother brought it to me when she brought up some other important documents. You're not going to be able to see it well, but come on, if you ain't had that fake rabbit fur coat, what were you really doing in the 70s? And do you see that little plume pant up over my boots? I love them boots. It was like a brown faux leather boot with a wedge heel, baby. And do you see that hat? That tam, one of my grandmother's tams. I got my crossbody on with my scarf. Honey, you don't see me though. I ain't new to it, baby. I ain't new to it. Do you see it? You see me. You see me. With the Polaroid. I keep this picture now on my desk because this picture is this is the day that I took my very first plane ride when I was 7 years old. I flew by myself to Chicago, Illinois, where my mother had moved to Chicago, living on Lakeshore Drive in a beautiful high-rise apartment overlooking Lake Michigan. This was I think it was the blizzard of 77, maybe it was, because I was 7. Yeah, either blizzard of 77 or 78. At any rate, I look at this picture to remember me. To remember me. To remember who I am. To remember from whence I came, and to remember this body, to center me and to center the names that the world forgets. George, Asata, Jalil, Kamal, Sundiata, Matulu, so many, Nahanda. To center these names, to center Rakia, to center all of the names, to tell their stories, is to refuse their disappearance. And it is in that refusal that we find power. Finally, memory requires performance. My. Melva, what do you mean when you say that memory requires performance. Black August and the commemoration and the observance. There are at least 4 and probably more principles, practices that folks, and remember, or not remember, let me say. So the term Black August doesn't come until like 1979. But the acts of Black August had been happening since 1970, since 3 brothers, George Jackson being one, were accused of retaliating against a prison guard for the murders of 3 other brothers. They were shot on the prison yard and were left dead to bleed out. And when people went to attempted to help them, they were either threatened with the same demise or were physically harmed. And so allegedly, George Jackson being one, and the other 2, known as the Soledad brothers, were arrested because a prison guard, were not arrested, they were already in jail, because a prison guard was beaten and thrown off of one of the prison tiers and killed, and they accused and arrested the Soledad brothers, of which George Jackson was one. And so during this month, folks remember the inhumane treatment of political prisoners, whether you were already politicized prior to coming in or were politicized upon entering. They recognize the plight of our political prisoners, and they take the month of August out to perform this acts of observance by fasting during daylight hours, exercising at least an hour a day, reading revolutionary texts. You could start with George Jackson's Soledad brother or Assata's biography, writing to political prisoners, and abstaining from the distractions of empire. It's a liturgy. It's a practice. It's a worship. Baldwin wasn't threatening violence when he said fire next time. He was begging for us to remember, because when memory fades, oppression returns dressed in new clothes. My God. So Black August memory is not passive, it is practice. So we fast and we read and we write to them in prison. We speak their names. We discipline our minds, our bodies, and our communities in resistance, because memory must move. Like Jesus, who carried his cross, knowing the cost, we too must carry the stories and keep walking. Finally, friends, Black August invites us to remember Jesus not just as Christ, but as a comrade. To remember that the same spirit that filled him fills us. To live so dangerously for love and truth that we too are watched, followed, and feared. Well, now we know all of us ain't gonna do that. But some of you are, and you already are. We remember not to romanticize the struggle, but to recommit to it, to say we see you, we honor you, and we continue your fights. So observe Black August not as tradition, but as training, not as nostalgia, but as necessary. Because as long as the prisons are full, as long as the truth is punished, as long as the cross is still used to silence the prophets, friends, we have work to do. We remember so we won't remain bound. Ashe, ashe. I want to invite you now to get your elements. Grab your elements, whatever you got. If you got a chip and a water, if you got a piece of bread and some juice, whatever you got, if you got an orange, whatever you got, a solid, so that we can engage in this ritual together. When you are ready, let me know when you are ready. As you are gathering your elements, I am placing here the link to join our subscription community monthly. Once you join, it will populate your name, and I will send you the link to come on over to Zoom. Ashe. Ready, Ashe. This liturgy a table for the imprisoned and the free. Beloved, we gather at this table, not in forgetfulness, but in fierce remembrance. This is the table that we are building, the table that Jesus built. This is the table of Jesus, political prisoner, holy insurgent, executed by the state, and yet he lives, and yet we eat, and yet we resist. This table is set for the caged and for the free, for the watcher and the weary, for those who remember and those learning how. Here, memory is a sacrament, solidarity is the bread, and hope pours like wine. Our great thanksgiving for the people. We remember Jesus, arrested without cause, beaten and mocked, sentenced by empire, crucified for telling the truth, yet he still loved, still he rose, and still he comes. We remember the freedom fighters from Egypt to Attica, from the Jordan to Jackson State. We name them and we honor them and we break bread in their name. Our words of institution. And on the night that he was executed, he took the bread, blessed it, and broke it, saying, "This is my body broken by empire, given for you. Remember me." Likewise, he took the cup and said, "This is the blood of the new covenant, poured out for liberation. Every time you drink it, remember me." The body broken, bludgeoned, imprisoned as an example. Take and remember. Representative of the blood of our freedom fighters, of our political prisoners, both living and transitioned. We also see Jesus as a political prisoner and ancestor. This liquid symbolically representing the blood spilled, shed for us. Take and drink. Let us pray. O God of the locked up and the let down, O Spirit who slips past bars and walls, sanctify this meal, strengthen our bodies for resistance, renew our minds for imagination, and may our remembrance spark revolution. Strengthen our bodies for resistance, renew our minds for imagination, and may our remembrance spark revolution. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is, and so that's why, and so it is. Amen. Amen. We are heading over to the clearing now, where we talk back to the text, Ashe. For those of you who are already subscribers, you have received the link in your emails. You have received it in our private Facebook page. For those of you, I'm getting ready to put up 2 links because I see there are 2 questions in the chat. So here's the first link again. I'm going to repost first on YouTube. If you want to join us monthly, you join us weekly, but the subscription is a monthly fee. If you want to join us, I have placed how you do that right there. It's a link. You go to the link, you log in your information. And just like you subscribe to many other platforms that you subscribe to, that's how it works, that monthly takeout. And then I see there are some of you who are asking for, because you don't want to join the clearing, but you want to be a blessing. You say, I just want to offer, I want to make an offering. So you can do Zelle. It's one way. Dr. Melva Sampson at gmail.com. You can also do, oh, my Cash App's not on here. You could do Cash App, Melva L. Sampson. Cash App, Melva L. Sampson. Melva L. Sampson. You can also do Venmo. This is for those who have asked. I'm doing this because folks have actually asked. Ashe. Melva Sampson on Venmo. Or you can PayPal at Pink Robe Chronicles. So the Pink Robe Chronicles, the Venmo, the Zelle, and the Cash App are for those who say, I can't be a part of the clearing right now. I can't make that commitment of a monthly offering, but certainly I just want to bless you, and here's the opportunity. That's why that's there. And for those of you who say, I want to join the clearing, I want to be present in that way, then the link has been sent. So we will see you all next week, Ashe, in your observances. If you are part of the Facebook group, we will also be using that to engage we'll be using that. And so we'll see y'all next week. Ashe. Ashe.